What would you do if you had 260 billion at your disposal? Would you buy that brand new solid gold Porsche with diamond-encrusted rims, or will you spend it all on houses and partying? You'd be surprised to learn how differently the wealthiest people in this earth spend their money compared to the more moderately rich. But before we get to the man who owns $250 billion, let's look at the 11 other entrepreneurs who are almost as wealthy. These are the top 12 richest people in the world. Number 12, Mark Zuckerberg. It's strange seeing the founder of Facebook and the current Meta overlord in such a low position, but still, you won't see Mark asking you for spare change anytime soon. Just 2 years ago, his personal wealth exceeded 100 billion, but today he has a modest 62.7 billion in his bank account. The Facebook creator is not one to spend his money frivolously on absurd luxury items. Instead, Zuckerberg spends a considerable chunk of his money on real estate. He owns several costly and lavish homes, including a 7 million home in the Crescent Park neighborhood. If that sounds a bit too expensive, it's actually one of his more modest purchases, as he spent 59 million on 2 adjacent lake houses on Lake Tahoe. In addition, Mark owns several other properties in Palo Alto, San Francisco, as well as his own personal island. While Mark does prefer to keep his lavish purchases to a minimum, he does have some outrageously expensive stuff to brag about. For example, here is $150 million yacht Ulysses, which costs him $2 million annually just to maintain. However, what he really loves spending money on are vacations. As you might have guessed, Mark and his family don't go to the public beach in Miami for the weekend. No, Zuckerberg prefers ultra-luxurious resorts across the world. Shocking right 11, Mukesh Ambani, being the second wealthiest Indian on the planet, might not sound that incredible considering the vast poverty in the country of 1.5 billion. However, Mukesh Ambani goes a bit further, as he is the edge of entering the top 10 richest people in the world. So why compare with 1.5 billion when you can do it with 8 billion? Ambani's story was never one of a slam dunk, and he was born into wealth. However, after he took over the family business in the early 80s, he showed his entrepreneurial genius and made his father's Reliance Industries Limited the most valuable company in India. Naturally, Ambani has a taste for the finer things in life, as he owns over 165 ultra-luxurious cars and a 60 million private Airbus A319, custom designed to include satellite TV, Wi-Fi, skybar, jacuzzis, and many more luxurious features. He is also a huge fan of cricket, and in 2008, he bought the local Mumbai Indians for 111.9 million. However, the crown jewel of his possession is Antilia, the world's most expensive and lavish home to this day. The 27-story mega mansion is located in downtown Mumbai and cost roughly 2.6 billion. This lavish skyscraper of a house, it is home to only 6 people: Ambani, his wife, and his 4 children. However, inside there are at least 600 other people that work for the family and take care of their every desire. Number 10, Ellison. What is the easiest way to become a billionaire? Just create a one-of-a-kind IT company, make it a huge international success, and sell it on the open market while retaining the majority shares. There is really nothing to it, and Ellison made this move perfectly. He created Oracle, which today is worth around $250 billion, while being the owner of such a company was undoubtedly the key to an 11-figure bank account. Being the best paid executive in the world probably doesn't harm either, being one of the more extravagant spenders in the list. Ellison has made several notable real estate purchases, like his Woodside CA mansion, which he refurbished in Japanese style. This cost him around 200 million. His obsession with Japanese culture, which I strongly suspect comes from the Sailor Moon anime. this time near Kyoto, Japan. This villa is located on the Zen Buddhist temple's ground, costing the billionaire around 86 million. Ellison's biggest purchase, however, remains the entire Hawaiian island of Lanai. Well, okay, just 98% of it, but still, it's quite a comfortable 300 million getaway when you think of it. Number 9. Steve Ballmer. Steve Ballmer became one of the wealthiest people in the world thanks to one brilliant move. Back in the 80s, Gere agreed to become Microsoft's first business manager with a salary of $50,000 a year. As a bonus, he was promised 5 to 10% of the still struggling company. Of course, Ballmer accepted, and now, as we all know, Microsoft. This not too small company with an estimated net worth of over 2.1 trillion today. Ballmer is no longer part of the Microsoft team, as he spends his well-deserved money on things he loves, like basketball. What better way to show your appreciation for the sport than by buying an entire team? Ballmer is now the majority shareholder of the LA Clippers. Ballmer spends his billions in much more traditional way, as he owns several lavish and ultra-luxurious homes. One example is a 10 million home in Hunts Point, Washington. The house is a true testament to his taste and style, with the lush gardens and luxuries all around. But what Ballmer really enjoys spending money on is his hobby: golf. Of course, billionaire isn't really playing in his backyard, while he's big enough to have a golf course there. He instead travels to the best golf courses around the world, so he can get a quick round of golf with some rich friends. Unfortunately, Ballmer has repeatedly admitted that he really stinks of this game. However, giving up has never been one of his strongest attributes, so he still spends colossal sums on the sport he loves, but isn't even good at. Number 8. Sergey Brin. If you don't know who Sergey Brin is, you'll probably think he is just another Russian oligarch who made his fortune through his Putin connections. However, the case of Sergey Brin is completely different. The brilliant Russian is the co-founder of Google, and one of the two names on this list that will make Google's algorithm show my video to at least 30 times more viewers. Is it really such a surprise? And one of the founders of Google is one of the richest people in the world. Unlike many other billionaires, Sergey actually reinvests his earnings not only for his own good, but also for the good of humanity. For example, Brin and his Google partner Larry Page are investing huge sums of their wealth in reusable energy sources and more environmentally friendly means of transport. They also donate quite a bit to various charities. One of his more outrageous investments is $4.5 million spent on Virginia-based space tourism company. So I can't help but admire the new private jets of the ultra-rich. Let's hope so. Number 7. Warren Buffett. There are many successful investors around the world, but none as intuitive and brilliant as Warren Buffett. The business magnate is the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, which has a modest income of $276.1 billion a year. The conglomerate owns over 60 companies across the market, all of which are doing well. So naturally, Warren managed to get a small part of their $103.6 billion success. Not bad for someone as old and charming as Abby Simpson, but Buffett is a different kind of billionaire. Instead of buying the most expensive boom, Carl and other spaceship, the 91-year-old lives in a relatively small but elegant house in Omaha. He bought the property in 1958 for $31,000, and while he can certainly afford the most expensive homes in the world, he prefers memories where he lives now. Instead of spending on things that will lose value the moment they leave the store, Buffett is reinvesting his wealth in new businesses, and he donates a huge part of his income to various charities. Over the years, he has donated over $45 billion to various causes. The not-so-bloodthirsty 1% to Occupy Wall Street movement claims to be Larry Page number 6. Was there any doubt that Sergey Brin's partner at Google would be on this list too? Larry Page is currently the 6th richest person in the world with $106.2 billion in his bank account. So now, having both Google patriarchs in one video, certainly Twitch YouTube's algorithm in my favor comes on robots Do your magic, as if Brin Page is interested in things beyond this world. That's why it's one of the biggest investors in planetary resources, a space exploration program. In addition, Page invests in research in the possibilities of flying cars. If it doesn't go to space before Musk or his partner, at least it will definitely conquer the skies. Unlike Brin, he spent his money on the better things in life, like a brand new Tesla X and a 193-foot mega yacht. Despite this, the largest expenses are incurred to support the various sides of charitable organizations. You could argue that being rich doesn't necessarily mean you are. Evil that would guess. Number 5. Bill Gates? If you haven't heard of Microsoft, you probably live in North Korea, which unfortunately means you'll be spending a few years in a labor camp because you're watching something on YouTube. However, for the rest of the world, Microsoft and its founder Bill Gates are quite famous. Of course, the IT genius who brought us the PC and Windows is one of the richest. The people in the world who have a staggering 121.5 billion. To explain to my North Korean viewers is about 20% more than what the dear leader has, and about 100 billion more than the DPR case. Annual GDP Bill Gates has not left this prestigious list for a long time, and of course is the central figure of many scandalous conspiracy theories. From the 121.5 billion, he spends it on much more valuable things than you. For example, several very luxurious houses and one valuable manuscript, handwritten by Leonardo da Vinci, worth over 130 million. This way, you flash cash rather than buying a solid gold tank like some Saudi princes do. Number 4. Gautan Adani. Having more money than a guy who literally built a skyscraper as his personal home is really saying something. Gautan Adani is currently the richest man in Asia and has earned a colossal 136.6 billion thanks to the Adani Group, India's leading port operator and developer. In addition, in May 2020, it won a tender for one of the largest photovoltaic projects in the world, worth 6 billion. Moreover, in the same year, the Adani Group acquired about 3/4 of Mumbai International Airport. Unlike Mukesh Ambani, he lives in a much smaller house. Despite this, it can still be classified as a modern residence. And although his cars are much smaller than 165, Adani has some ultra-luxury vehicles such as BMWs, Ferraris, and limousines. The jewel in the crown of his fortune is a Bombardier Challenger 560 private jet, which currently costs around 30 million. Number 3. Bernard Arnault is proof that not only Americans and Indians can earn 11 figures in business. The Frenchman is the third richest person in the world because he recently lost his job. Moreover, in 2021, he was the richest man in the world for several months. Go to France. If there was a god of fashion, I wouldn't be it. Almighty being. If you look at yourself in the mirror right now, you're probably wearing at least one item made by an Arnault-owned company. With 70 fashion brands under his belt, this entrepreneurial genius targets not only luxury buyers, but also the common folk and thrift store dwellers. Clothes, accessories, wines, baked goods, cosmetics, perfumes, and much more make up this French entrepreneur, the richest man in entire European Union. While most of his spending goes to charity or expanding his empire, Arnault is known for donating 150 million for an ultra-luxury yacht where he can relax with his family away from the glamour of the fashion world. Number 2. Jeff Bezos, the guy who looks more like Lex Luthor from the Superman comics, the second richest person on the planet. Fortunately, as far as I know, the king of trade is not planning anything sinister, and I hope he will remain only a genius and not a madman. Bezos is known for his extravagant purchases, ranging from ultra-luxury yachts costing over 1 billion, exceptional sports cars worth over 10 million, a portfolio of luxury homes that cost him around 600 million, and of course a fleet of luxury private jets worth over 150 million. Naturally, Bezos is also in the billionaire space race and looks to be winning. He managed to get to the edge of space on a specially made rocket from his own rocket factory. Take it Superman, or whoever Bezos' nemesis is Elon Musk's. Number 1. Elon Musk has become more than just a billionaire. He's a rock star among his fans. A messiah, if you will. The IT genius owns Tesla, Twitter, SpaceX, and about a dozen other companies that are somehow very successful, while most other billionaires live by Big Musk. He prefers a small 350 square foot house for $50,000 with nothing luxurious about it. What's more, when he's not sending his cars into space, he prefers to use a Tesla and rarely spends outrageous amount on pompous items. Musk, on the other hand, spends most of his money on charity and new projects, many of which fail. This is probably the only way to success. You try and fail until you get something. I can't help but wonder what Musk's next big hit would be. They were the richest people on the planet, and since we don't know how the richest amoeba on Jupiter's moon's Europa is, I can even go so far as to say that they are the richest people in the entire solar system for the entire galaxy. I don't know. What do you think? Who will be the first billionaire? Let me know in the comments below. And while knowing who the world's richest people are is indeed eye-opening, knowing how they waste money on ridiculously expensive items is undoubtedly more fun. So take a look at 12 crazy expensive things billionaires bought.